Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Garth Popple. Thank you for that. And I'm the Executive Director for We Help Ourselves, also the Deputy President for the World Federation of Therapeutic Communities. I'm currently not the chair of the Australasian Therapeutic Community Association. I'm a former chair, former president, and our current chair, Gerard Burns, sends his apologies, but he'd just come back from the European Federation of Therapeutic Communities, and during the work commitments he just couldn't do 2 conferences, and the fact that he works for me, I wasn't going to pay for 2 conferences. So he has asked me to read out some statements from himself, but I was talking to some delegates a little bit earlier, and we've just had our 50th anniversary for our therapeutic community in Australia, and I was just talking to some delegates a bit earlier how we actually started, and we started by visiting some TCs in the USA, and they happen to be here today, which is great, which is Odyssey House in Utah and New York, and also Delancey Street. Both TCs had a big impact on how we actually formulated our first TC model of care. Very early days, I'm talking 1972, but it actually started our whole journey on what a therapeutic community was, because not many people knew what we were. They thought we were a cult. The ATCA, the Australasian Therapeutic Community Association, which is Australia and New Zealand, was founded in 1986, and it was actually hosted by Odyssey House in Victoria. And to give you an idea, they were early days, and we had to sleep in the newly opened up detox beds because we couldn't afford accommodation to stay down in Melbourne. They were early days. You had to self-fund yourself to these meetings, and we just grew from there. But I'm going to read out the current chairperson's message to you. The Australasian Therapeutic Community, just to get it in context, Australia is the same size as the USA, size-wise, geographic-wise. We've got 25 million people in Australia, and there's 20 million people in New Delhi, so just to give you a bit of context there. The Australasian Therapeutic Community has 35 member organisations across Australia and New Zealand, providing over 60 therapeutic communities, with additional withdrawal management and day programs. During 2022, the Australasian Therapeutic Community Association released its ATCA strategic plan and launched its new website. The development of the strategic plan included a comprehensive member and stakeholder consultation process, which included past and present members, several online workshops with ATCA board and other stakeholders. The ATCA activities planned for the coming years are contained in the strategic plan. The plan sets out aspirational visions of the movement to actually have the TC model of treatment further recognised and embraced by consumers, communities and governments. And what I say there, in Australia, TCs are considered the gold standard because the government actually knows what they're funding, because we have standards, we have essential elements. Residential services come in a second because they're not really sure what they do there. There's no defined plan. So we're very lucky around that whole process of marketing the model. The ATCA's mission is to support and represent our members, that's a member organisation, and advocate for the therapeutic community model as an evidence-based model that restores a sense of well-being for consumers of our member services. Despite the challenges of operating within the COVID-19 pandemic environment, ATCA members continue to expand services and meet a much greater need in Australia and New Zealand. Some of the examples is Odyssey House. They've just opened up some new centres called the Hope Centre. They built a special purpose-built 58-bed facility. Windana House in Victoria, they've opened up a new therapeutic community. And ourselves, we open up a new therapeutic community in regional Australia. So we now, the organisation I work for has 7 therapeutic communities across 2 states in Australia. The ATCA members have also developed new innovative programs. Some, for example, have opened up a unique program in Western Australia for a woodworking program, using donated timber from a damaged ship and a jetty, and residents are learning to create furniture and sculpture. Odyssey in Auckland, they've opened up a new program supporting 18 to 24-year-olds with mental health or addiction challenges. And another therapeutic community in Western Australia has implemented community-based support, pre and post-treatment support, and a detoxification service to staff of its members across Australia and New Zealand. And to date, the last couple of years, we've trained 560 staff, have undertaken the training. Now, one of the biggest issues we have in Australia, there's lots of training for drug and alcohol, but there's not a lot of training for therapeutic communities. So we've actually our association had to take on that goal ourselves and provide our own training, and to add some credibility to it, we got accredited training. The number of members becoming accredited under the ATCA standard, and it's actually happening right now as we're speaking here in Australia. We're running training at our venue in Sydney. We're hosting the venue, so we're training 35 new staff on the TC model of care. Because as we know, a lot of our staff carry out day-to-day functions of a therapeutic community, but they don't know why they're carrying it out. They don't know the rationale behind the model. So we're doing a lot of work in the rationale for that, and we've also developed e-learning modules for the staff so they can do ongoing continuous improvement to their TC knowledge by completing online e-learning modules. Information on all these activities are on the ATCA, can be found at the atca.com.au. Dose methadone on site. We have 2 TCs that dose opioid treatment. One to reduce people off opioid, the other one stabilising. So to actually be able to explain it to people, we just thought a picture's worth 1,000 words, so they can actually see what they're signing up for. And we've run this out across the country, so we just call them virtual tours, just so people get a bit of an idea of what we're about. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for the opportunity.